Welcome back, guys. This is Hayes with CheatSheetPros. It's Saturday night, and I'm going to post some NFL plays, and I want to walk through them and kind of explain what this sheet's going to look like. So we're going to go through the NFL cheat sheet. I'm going to show you how I come up with these plays and some of the things that I do like, but I want to show you what this is. So typically when I post the tic-tac-toe board, I've got the 9 squares, so it's similar to this. I didn't do tic-tac-toe this week. I just did a big round robin embedded every which way because my kids have soccer games and I'm going to be out and about and I don't want to carry this big sheet of paper. So these plays up here, these top 4 or top 3 in this case, this is what it pays. So right, for example, this one right here is going to say Herbert 220 yards, Quentin Johnson 25 receiving yards, Scattaboo 15 receiving yards, Omarion 2 receptions. That pays 190. So plus 190, that's 1.9 to 1. So that's what you would put in your tic-tac-toe square if you want to follow it. Now there's only 7 of them on here and you need 9 for a tic-tac-toe board. So a couple of them you have to come up with on your own, or you could just do a round robin. Now, you'll note up here that DK only allows 20 legs in a round robin, so you cannot put all of these together. 2 of these you're going to have to leave out and just do the top ones. And then we have this optional play right below it. So we have these 4 pays plus 190, and then you have this optional, which this would be the LA Chargers money line, and that cranks the optional play up to plus 295. So if you want to go real crazy, you can do all of these. If you want to go a little lighter, you can do these. You can mix and match the ones you want. You know, you could pick this one, and this one, and do a 3-leg round robin. You could bet them each individually, however you want to do it. And then we're going to go over the Money Builder, the Nuke Shot, and then the Sunday Night Money Chaser. So typically, when I first start looking at plays, a lot of people ask me what I do. So I come over here to the Prop tab, and I'm just going to sort this and get rid of the players that don't have stats this year. And I sort by hit rates. You know, I want to see who's hit 100% of the time, and I'm going to kind of look down. I keep a sheet of paper. I start writing stuff down. Some of the things that jump out at me: Daniel Jones pass yards. Let's take a look at that one. It's 219.5. He's got 272, 316, and 228. So that one jumps out at me. Drake May's another one. His line's low at 213.5, and he's got 287, 230, 268. So those are a couple plays that I want to use to start off my same game parlay. Now, always look at the defense and who they're playing. And again, if they're going up against Cleveland, I'm probably not going to touch that because Cleveland and Green Bay, they look like elite defenses right now. Flipping down here, Puka receptions, Olave receptions. The Chargers have a bunch of receivers that are going to pop up here. Bucky Irving receptions, it's 3.5. He's got 4.64. Not a big leg there, but we can do 2+, 3+ in a same game parlay and feel pretty good about that, especially going up against Philadelphia. Juwan Johnson's another one that jumps out. Quentin Johnson receiving yards. 51.5 is low, and he's been top 2 in targets, I believe, every week. And he's got 79, 71, and 89 yards. So, you know, we could put this in a same game parlay and do like 25+, 40+, and get a little bit of juice there. The Chargers are going to be able to do whatever they want in that game. But I'll just kind of flip down through here, and I'll find some plays that I like and whatnot. So that's pretty simple with the tab. Now the next thing I do, this is the main tab that I use. So this is my game logs tab, and you click inside this home team if you don't have Excel or you've never used this before. Because if it's sitting here, you don't know how to change the team. So I get so many questions like, hey, I just signed up. How do I change the team? So click inside the home, this caret opens up, and then you can pick all of the home teams. As you pick the home team, it changes the top team, and then we have all of these fun stats that we can look through. I changed it up a little bit this year to make it more like the baseball sheet, so it reads left to right and has everything listed vertically. We have some basic stats up here to look at our offenses, defenses, and see if they're good, if they're bad, how they rank. Like, for example, this is a big stat that I look at, and that's yards allowed per rush attempt. So that way you can tell if the opposing team is getting gashed on the ground by the running backs. And we have all these other stats, including the different models. If you want to see the score, we have the Vegas stuff up here. And so we start off, the white is going to be our 2 quarterbacks side by side. We have our 2 RB1s. We have the RB2s in here. And then we have the wide receivers 1, 2, and 3. They're in the green. And then we go down, we do the tight ends. And then when we get down here at the bottom, I added the target chart just to see where the targets are going. So I'll show you some keys in here. A lot of teams have a funnel of 1 or 2 players that get all of the targets. And even though their previous games they might not have received a bunch of stats, those targets will eventually turn into stats. And then everybody loves the DK touchdown free bet. So I put a little touchdown chart here. You can see what the odds are for an anytime touchdown, and then you can see who has scored the touchdowns during the week. So that's always kind of fun to play with. So this is how I use the sheet. I want to flip through and show you how I just come up with a few of the plays. Arizona, Seattle, that game already happened. We're not going to worry about that. Pitt, Minnesota is not in our deal. So we're going to go ahead and look at the Chargers and Giants. So the first thing that jumps out at me when I'm looking at this is Justin Herbert. So the Chargers haven't been able to run the ball. You can see here Omari and Hampton, 15 for 48, 8 for 24, 19 for 70. He did a little better last week. Their RB2's not really running the ball, so they are throwing the ball at a really high clip. Now you can see here Herbert's got 318, 242, and then 300 pass yards, and his projection and his prop, well, his projection's 270, his prop's 251, so he's projected to go over it by 18.5 yards. So that's pretty good. One of the other things that jumps out at me are his rushing yards, but we know Herbert is not a running quarterback, so don't run out there and bet him 25 plus rush yards. That's probably not going to win. As we could see last week, he only rushed 2 times, and that was probably just a quick scramble and fall to the ground. But at 250 on our same game parlay, I like to take an alt line here. So 318, 242, 300. I'm going to take him 220 plus. That feels pretty safe. You know, he could go north of that, but this is a game that they will probably win by double digits. Giants are starting a rookie QB, so I don't expect him to throw for 300 yards. That was against Kansas City in a close game, 27-21, and a close game against Denver, 23-20. In the game where they won 20-9 against Vegas, he only threw for 242, so I think it'll be more around this 242 number. So Herbert overs the first one. Omari and Hampton, he was not really getting all the workload in these first 2 games, but this last game, what I was impressed with, he caught 6 of his 7 targets for 59 yards. So this one's a little bit of a stretch, but I do like his receiving yards. I think one of the things that I put in here was 2+ receptions. So we had Herbert 220, and then Omarion 2+ receptions. He got 2 this week. He got 2 targets here and a lot more here. If they're up, this one may miss. They may just hand him the ball 20 times and move on down the road, but I like 2+ receptions to crank it up. The other one is Cam Skattebo. He looked really good by himself. Now, he rushed 10 times for 60 yards last week, but he had 8 targets and caught 6 balls for 61 yards. So in our same game parlay, you can see over here, we have Herbert 220, Scatty 15+ receiving yards. He could do that. That's a one and done. Omarion 2 receptions. And then Quentin Johnson 25+ receiving yards was our other one. And then I wanted to pick a receiver. So Ladd McConkey is coming up as the one, but he's never leading in targets or yards. It's always Keenan Allen or Quentin Johnson. And Quentin Johnson, for some reason, he can catch one ball for 45 yards and cash this. So I really liked it. He's projected for 60 yards. He's got 79, 71, and 89. So taking a smaller number like that, what did we say that was? Oh, 25 yards. So I'm sorry, 1 catch for 25 yards. So realistically, Herbert could easily throw for 220. Quentin catches 1 ball, maybe 2 balls, has his 25 yards by halftime. Skattebo can catch 1 ball, scramble for 15, have that one. And Omarion catching 2 balls. I had this at 3, but when I dropped it to 2, it was still plus 190, which is huge when you're doing a parlay. I mean, that pays 2 to 1. And I like the Chargers. If you throw the Chargers money line in there and get it to plus 295, that's almost 3 to 1. I really liked it. The Omarion one you could throw out if you wanted to go a little bit safer on it, but again, to each his own. Coming down here, New England and Carolina, a couple things that jumped out at me. So Drake May passing yards, his prop 213.5, he's projected for 222, and he's got 287, 230, 268. So he's easily throwing in the low 2s. He's also running the ball at a pretty good clip. In the last 2 games, he has 17 rush attempts for 31 and 45 yards and a TD. So he's doing pretty good. So I liked him, putting him in there. So I did 190 yards for an alt parlay. Now, Carolina's been a decent pass defense. Let's take a look here. So rushing, they've been getting killed. They're giving up 137.7 yards on the ground, 5.4 yards per rush attempt, which ranks 30th. Passing wise, they're only giving up 196 yards a game, which is 12th best. So that's pretty good. So I'm going to drop him down to 190, even against Miami, where he didn't go bananas. He threw for 230, so 190 feels pretty safe. He's averaging, 50 plus yards over that each week. And then the optional play here, if you wanted to get crazy, you could do Drake May over 15 rushing yards, which he's got 31 and 45, and that's going to crank that up from plus 162 to plus 220. And then Drake May, you need someone to throw it to. I debated Travion Henderson, but, 2 targets, 3 targets, that, kind of worried me because you're going to have to take 2 or 3 catches to get anything. Ramondre didn't want anything to do with. Diggs really hasn't done much this year. I mean, his 32 yards, 23 yards, I didn't want him. Kayshon Boutte, I love this kid, but he's not getting the targets. Demario Douglas, he's the wide receiver 3. So Hunter Henry is what we're looking at. Now, he didn't really do anything against Miami, but in the first game, he had 8 targets, 4 catches, 66 yards. That's solid. This last game against Pittsburgh, he went bananas. 11 targets, 8 catches, 90 yards, 2 touchdowns. Now, when we scroll up here, we see Carolina, how their defense is doing. They're good against the wide receiver 1, the 2, the 3, pass-catching running backs, but where they struggle is against tight ends. They're 31st. Now, give grain of salt, this is only 3 games, so it doesn't mean a lot, but this is going to help me pick out Henry. So Hunter Henry, I wanted to take 3+ or 4+ catches. He's got 4, 1, and 8, so over 3.5 felt pretty good if you want to do this leg. And I needed something else to put, and I really didn't like anything on Carolina, so I wanted to go to the quarterback because the quarterback is always on the field. He touches the ball every offensive play. And one thing you'll notice is his passing attempts are outrageous. So 35 the first week, 55 the second week, and then 24 last week. And the only reason he only had 24 is because the defense did so much. They were able to win this game 30-0, and they could run the clock out. He didn't need to do anything. So I did 28+ pass attempts. So that's over 27.5. Now looking at these first 2 games, 35, 55, 55 astronomical. 30 to 32 should be a pretty normal average for him. So 28+ felt pretty good to put in there because they should be down in this game. I don't think either team will be able to run the ball a ton. Well, Carolina won't be able to run. So look at this. New England's rush defense, they're only allowing 60.3 rush yards per game, second best, 2.8 yards per rush, second best. So what are they going to do? They're going to have to throw the ball. Bryce Young's not an elite quarterback, so that's going to equal pass attempts. Even in the last 2 drives, this guy could have, 15 pass attempts and just dink and dunk all the way down the field. Chuba Hubbard's probably not going to have a big week this week, but I don't want to go under 50 rushing yards. That's a little risky. So I did Bryce Young passing attempts. So you can see, let me pull it back up over here. So right down here, we had Drake May, 190 yards, Hunter Henry, 4+ catches. He was our best option. Bryce Young, 28+ pass attempts. Those 3 pays 162. So plus 162 is solid when you're mix and matching. I mean, we only have to win that bet about 35% of the time. And if you want to put Drake May 15+ rushing yards in there, it cranks it up to plus 220, and that will give you a much higher payout. So I just want you guys to kind of see and understand how I use the sheet. And when I scroll down through these games, some of the stuff that I'm looking for. Oh, we'll look at this one. So this was a fun one. So let me find that. Okay, here. So we did Baker, 15 rushing yards. Bucky, 3 receptions. And then I did each team total. Bucks over 10.5, Eagles over 13.5, and that got that to plus 165. I kind of like Baker, 180 pass yards, making it plus 205. What you could do is get rid of this Baker 15+ rush yards because that's always kind of risky, and put this Baker 180 in there, and then that might drop it to 150, but that's a little bit more secure. However, look at his rushing attempts. Now, 5, 3, and 4, so he doesn't run a ton, but when they don't put someone over him and he gets an opening, he will take off. So he's got 39, 33, and 44 rushing yards, so taking over 15 in a game that should be a back-and-forth shootout, that felt pretty good. He could get that in 1 run, maybe 2, so I went ahead and went with that one. The other one was Bucky reception. So you can see here, he's caught every ball that's been thrown to him this year. He has 4, 6, and 4 receptions, so 14 grabs in 3 games. And this should be a close back and forth game. So I like him for 4+ catches. Or was it 3+ catches? Nope, 3+ catches. So 4 would crank it up. 3+ is what we're going to go with. And then the 180 passing yards. It looks a little sketch here. Atlanta at home played him really good. But then he had 215, 233. So, that's kind of a sketch one, but we put it in there anyway. Saquon really hasn't been doing a ton. He's getting the volume, but hasn't had his Saquon type game where he just absolutely explodes. So I'm sure that's coming, but I'm going to stay away from it. The Philadelphia wide receivers, with the exception of last week, really haven't done much. So I stayed away from that. And that's why I went with Bucks team total over 10.5 and Eagles over 13.5. And I'll swing over here to the bet model, do the same thing, click in the home team, drop the game down, and just look and see how they've been doing. So the Eagles, they've scored 24, 20, and 33. So them going up against Tampa, asking them to score 14 feels pretty fair. And they're also giving up 20, 17, 26. Tampa's scored 23, 20, and 29. So asking them to score 11 points, that feels pretty fair. So that's how we came up with that play. Typically, when I do tic-tac-toe or round robin, I want everything about plus 150, a little bit more if I'm going to crank it up. Let's flip down. Let's go ahead and take a look at another one. And then we've got, say, Houston, Detroit. The Detroit game's going to be good. Rams game's going to be good. Houston, let me skip over that one. Rams Indy. So this game, you could do a same game parlay just on this one. So a couple things I love about this. Daniel Jones passing yards, 272, 316, 228. And his prop's only 219, projected 230. And even with Jonathan Taylor, look at how many carries he's getting. 18, 25, 17. He's still throwing for a crap ton of pass yards. So Jonathan Taylor running the ball is not taking anything away from Daniel Jones. I know we had him 200 plus last week. He threw for almost 230, so we were good there. And then in our same game parlay here, we had Jonathan Taylor, which 71, 165, 102. We had him 50 yards. That feels pretty fair. Daniel Jones, what do we have him for? Right here. So Daniel Jones, 180, so that feels pretty fair. He's got 272, 316, and 228. Okay, it's a tougher defense, but still 180 is a very small, it's 50 yards under what he's projected to do. Jonathan Taylor, 50-plus rush yards. That feels pretty good. 71, 165, 102. They do give up a few rush yards on the ground. Indy team total over 13.5. I threw that one in there. That just seems silly. I like them to win the game, so I don't care if it's back and forth scoring as long as they score 2 touchdowns at some point in the game and score 14. That's going to get you to plus 130. And I went with Corum, 15 rush yards. Now, Kyren might have been a little better to take 40 or 50 yards. He's got 66, 66, 94. And then Indy does give up 4.8 yards per rush attempt. So Kyron's definitely viable if you want to put him in there. He's getting the volume. The reason I went with Blake Corum is they want to work him in more. And he's got 5 carries, 8 carries for 44 and 53 yards. And 15 just feels like a no-brainer. If they're up, if they're down, if they need Kyren to get a rest, they hand him a couple balls. So he's going to get 4 or 5 carries. And he's only got to average 3.5 yards a carry to get to 15. So that felt like he could get one early, bust one for 15, be done, and then we can move on down the road. If you want to add Kyren in there, that will also crank it up to plus 205. So that's pretty good. But if you want to pivot this one, you could take Corum out, put Kyren in there. That'll change this a little bit, but I really like that one. The other one that I want to take a look at, we've looked at the majority of these. Buffalo's kind of the obvious one. They're a 16-point favorite. I'm not laying 16.5 points on any team in the NFL, so I like to go race to 25. So the odds are the Saints are not scoring 25 points in the entire game, so you're basically taking Buffalo team total over, but you're getting better odds because it's a race too, and they've scored about 30 points every game, so 25 should be a no-brainer. James Cook, 60 yards. That's pretty simple for him. Rattler, 150. Rattler completions was another one that I looked at. And then Olave, 4+ catches. He's getting the most targets. Let me show you that. That's the target chart one I wanted to look at. And I believe Buffalo's at home. Yeah, and Buffalo scored 41, 30, and 31, so 25 should be a no-brainer. So down here on this target chart, so like right here, so here's a good example. If you're wanting to do a DFS lineup or player props and you want to see who's getting the targets, well, Kamara's really not getting a lot. Kendre Miller's not getting a lot. Shaheed, 956, that's okay. Cooks, 425, that's okay. But Jawan Johnson, 11, 9, and 8. And then Olave, 13, 10, and 14. So Olave, even though he hasn't been doing much, he's got double-digit targets every single game, and he's led the targets every single game. And it's a team that's going to be down, that's going to throw the ball. So I liked Olave for 4 grabs. I mean, we know he's getting 10 targets. If Buffalo's up 2 touchdowns, they're just going to back off and let him dink and dunk. Olave should easily get his 4 grabs. So this target chart really helps me say, okay, Olave, Jawan Johnson, you could do 4 catches, 3 catches, put it in there, go from there. But you can see like the Buffalo side, it's spread out a little bit more. So Cook had 5 the first game and then 1, so he's not doing a bunch. Ray Davis, not really doing a lot with him. Cook's the primary. And then it really mixes here. Like Shakir was up there, then Coleman blew up, and then it kind of went down. Then Kincaid got the most targets these 2 weeks, and just 3, 3, 4, 4. So it's a little bit riskier when you look at that. But that's the target chart that I wanted to show you down. But this Cleveland game, I want to show you this one, and then we'll wrap up and hit these last 2 parlays. And then Cleveland is... Oh, let me go look at my model. I forgot. Cleveland, Detroit. That's who it is. So we're going to flip back over to game logs. We're going to go to the home team. We're going to look for Cleveland, Detroit. Detroit's at home. So Cleveland's defense is ridiculous this year. Look at this. First and lowest rush yards allowed. First in yards per rush allowed. 4th lowest pass yards allowed. And first and lowest total yards allowed. So Detroit could struggle in this game. So what I really liked about this parlay was this one. I took Judkins 50-plus yards, Gibbs 3 catches, and Cleveland team total under 26.5. Cleveland is going to run the ball. They're going to run the clock. They're really good on defense. They're going to draw this game out. So Cleveland's not going to score 28 points. I would be shocked if Flacco came out here, and yeah, that would just be a shocker to me. So those 3 plays there were plus 150. So that's a good payout. And then if you add under 52.5 for the game total, which should cruise under that, it jumps up to plus 196. So I really liked that. And then Flacco, you can see here, he's got a bunch of pass attempts. He's not really tearing it up. But this guy, Judkins, is absolutely phenomenal. Last week, he had 18 carries against the Packers defense and put up 94 yards, which was very impressive. I didn't think he would get there. So going up against Detroit, it's also a tough matchup, but here against Baltimore, he put up 10 for 61. So just to get 50 yards, that feels fair. He's going to get, 16 to 18 carries. So I like that one. Gibbs, depending on how this game is going, I don't think Gibbs is going to be able to run the ball very much. So I think they're going to have to resort to the passing game. So the Packers and the Browns have a similar defense. They're good. They stop the run. They're not going to give up big plays. Well, when Detroit played Green Bay in week 1, he only ran 9 times for 19 yards. And at that point, they were like, okay, F this. We got to start throwing the ball. Well, the first thing they did was Gibb caught 10 little screen passes for 31 yards. So I think that's going to happen again. So for him to grab 3 balls, I think that's easy. You could even put this in a NUKE parlay and take it up to 5, 6, or 7, because if they're trying to win this game or they get down, that could really jump up. And then for the under 26.5, I mean, look at, let's flip over here to the bet model. This is the best place to look at team totals. Detroit, there you are. So Cleveland scored 16 against Cincinnati, 17 against Baltimore, 13 against the Packers. So for them to jump out against Detroit and put up 30, I'd be shocked. Yes, Baltimore did it. Chicago put up 21. Baltimore, it's Baltimore. They put up 30. Cleveland and Baltimore are not the same team. They're just not going to get there. They struggle on offense. So I like that game to stay under there. So that's kind of what I was looking at when I build my squares. Let me blow this up a little bit on the screen, and we'll go ahead and look at some of these other parlays. Now, your money builder parlay down here. This is kind of to build your bankroll. If you don't like to lose and you just want something that's kind of safe, slam dunk, put some legs in there, this is the one that I like. So Daniel Jones, 190 yards. We talked about him. Drake May, 190 yards. Herbert, 220 yards. I liked those three, and those three alone were 100 and plus 185 or plus 188, so almost 2 to 1. And it's kind of a fun little parlay to follow. And as long as you're getting plus money, I mean, it's really not going to hurt you. You can put a unit, 2 units, 3 units on it, whatever you're comfortable. However, I didn't want a plus 188 money builder. I wanted to crank it up. I had a really good Thursday night game, which I didn't realize because, what's his name? Jackson Smith and Jigma wasn't going to get the yardage. And so I was in bed and my neighbors were like, come over and have a shot of whiskey. Let's play a game of darts. And that turned into another shot of whiskey and then a drink and then darts. And by the time I got home, I had no idea what was on TV. I woke up, had $250 in my account. And I was like, hey, all my bets won. So apparently he caught a bunch of balls at the end and went over his alt, I think 60 yards. So anyways, I wanted to go for something a little better. So my money builder parlay is these three. And then I took Buffalo race to 25. I love Buffalo to win the game. I don't want to lay 17 points. That's just silly. But race to 25, we'll go with that. The Ravens are playing my Kansas City Chiefs. I believe they've never won in Kansas City. However, Kansas City is struggling right now. I don't want to say they stink because I live in Kansas City. I'm a Chiefs fan. But this is going to be a very hard game for them to win. Now, Ravens are favored 2.5. That was one of our best bet plays that we released. But if you take plus money with the Ravens, like plus 4.5, I love that because worst case, it's a 3 or 4 point game at the end. We win, I'm excited, and then the Ravens go. But the money didn't really change a lot when I went to 7.5 or 8.5. So I went ahead and I took Ravens plus 8.5. The Ravens could put up 24 to 30 points in this game, and there's no way Kansas City is going to be able to match that and keep up with it. But even if Kansas City magically somehow comes up with 20 points, the Ravens are at least going to get in that, 13 to 17 range and cover this. So I always do a monster parlay for about 5 units every week, a 3-team 10-pointer. So far, I've hit one every week. And I've got one going again this week, and the Ravens are one of them that's on there at plus 7.5. So we put that in there. Anyways, that pays plus 355. So that's 3.55 to 1. So $10 pays 35.50, $20 pays 71, etc., etc. And I used a little DK bonus. It was a small one, I think 15%, but it cranked it up to 405, and you could put up to, I believe it changes for each individual, but I could put up to $75 on it. So basically, I got 4 to 1 on this. So I put 3 units on that at 4 to 1. I like that. If it loses, that's fine. We'll move on. Now, your nuke shot parlay. So this is the one where you get a bunch of plus money things that if stuff just goes right, you slap them together and you get a shot at big money. So the ones that jumped out at me are Omarion 4+ receptions is plus 175. Geno Smith, 280 passing yards, plus 162. He's done it in 2 of 3 games, and Chicago has a weaker pass defense, and they can't run. And then Cleveland, Detroit under 38.5. We saw the Cleveland Packer game last week. I didn't think anybody was going to score in that game. We could see the same thing this week. I don't know how Cleveland's defense is going to do on the road in Detroit, but under 38.5, I think the line's like 43.5, 44, so it's really not that far-fetched to go under 38.5 at plus 175. But you put these 3 together, and that pays plus 1850, so 18.5 to 1. Now, the other one, the optional play here is Bryce, 36 plus passing attempts, which he's getting really close to that. They should be down. He should be throwing the ball a ton. That's plus 170. If you add that in there, that takes this from plus 1850 to plus 5175. So you go from 18 to 1 to almost 52 to 1. Oh, I just realized I put top 3 pays when it's actually, that's the optional pay for the top 4. Anyways, this is our nuke shot here. You want to do these 3, you get 18 to 1. You do these 4, you get over 50 to 1. So for this, just put Taco Bell money on it. Throw $2. It's going to pay you 100 if it hits. And if it doesn't, you're out $2. I don't even think you can eat Taco Bell for $2 anymore. Drinks are so freaking expensive. Anyways, and this is our Sunday night chaser right here. So if you are down and you get absolutely crushed and you're going into that Sunday night game and you want some action and you want to get your money back, this is how we're going to do it. So I love this game. It's going to be so much fun. So I'm going to hammer it either way. If I'm up, if I'm down, whatever it may be. So Packers money line, I think that's obvious. Dallas is down CeeDee Lamb. They're down an offensive tackle. Micah Parsons is going back. He's going to show Jerry Jones what's up. Packers should win this game. They should cover the 7, 6, whatever the spread is at your book. But Packers money line just feels like a no-brainer. They should win it. Dallas has no defense. Jacobs, he's getting the ball 18 to 20 times a game. Putting up 60 yards should be a floor for him, an absolute minimum. So Packers win, Jacobs 60 yards. That's kind of your baseline. And take your receivers. So just playing around on this, I took Matthew Golden, Romeo Doubs, and Kraft, and I just clicked the 15 reception yards each. So that's like one catch. And this thing was plus 195, and I was like, holy shit, if I'm down money, this is what I'm going to do to chase it. And if you don't like Golden, take Dubs and Kraft. If you don't like Dubs, take Golden and Kraft, or just take Kraft, or take Packers, Jacobs, Kraft. Whatever you want to do. The other play I love is Love over 1.5 passing touchdowns. He gave, 4 or 5 passing touchdowns to Caleb Williams and 3 the week prior. Like, Love should be able to throw for 2 TDs here fairly easy. So my big prediction was either Love's throwing for 2 touchdowns or Jacobs running in for 2 touchdowns, and both of those should be good money. So if you take this, you put Love 2+ passing TDs, that's going to get you to plus 365. So 30 or 3.65 to 1, that's pretty good odds right there for a Sunday night chaser. So I'm going to go ahead and get this posted out. It'll probably drop in our free group tomorrow morning. I'm going to drop the video tonight once it gets uploaded in our premium group in the website. I'm going to upload this as soon as I'm done so everybody can get started and play with it early. And good luck, guys. And if you've never signed up with us before, we are cheap as shit. We are one of the cheapest sites out there. We don't nickel and dime and charge you this for PGA and this for college and this for NFL. It's just one price. It's $16 for a whole month, and you get all of the sheets. Get in the chat, and for anyone who's a premium member, if you haven't seen already, Facebook is taking our premium chats away for Facebook groups October 5th, so we are going to transition probably to Discord at that time, so stay tuned. And anyways, good luck. Go make some money. My kids have soccer tomorrow. I'll be home by 1:30 in the afternoon, and be ready to watch my Chiefs. Have a good one.